Hello everybody. And this is going to be part 2 of my 100-gallon shrimp pond setup. So, last time we had a leak, so I drained it all out, put in some more of my sealant on the inside and the outside. It's caked on there, and the leak is fixed, thank God. And then I didn't make a video on this part of it because I am not a carpenter. I am not that kind of a thing, and this is just, you can make it look pretty with a router and you can turn it into a shelf, but I didn't do that. So this is how I hung my light. Just 2x4, down the stud, down the stud, connected them. There's a stud in the middle, so I had to span it, and then drilled holes to mount the light, washers and nuts, and then this is just another 2x4 mounted onto the cross beam. Nothing fancy. I am not a woodworker or carpenter, so I'll stick to showing people how to do shrimp stuff. But I think I did it good enough. Probably about to sit on there and be good. It's way over engineered. So the substrate I'm going to be using here in this shrimp pond is what I use in most of my tanks and my other ponds, and that is black diamond blasting sand. And I get the biggest grit that they have available. This was like the medium large grit. It's the biggest one they had. The thing with this stuff is you can get 50 pounds for 10 bucks, and it's really nice looking black sand. But you gotta rinse. As you can see here, I've got a 2-bucket operation going here. You just let the hose run, and you keep your hand in there, you stir it up. This will work with any kind of sand that needs rinsed. And you let it run, stir it up occasionally, and then when it runs clear, like that, then you know you're pretty good after you've stirred it up a bunch of times and it still runs clear. And you can get it real clear and real clean if you add less sand per bucket. So the least amount of sand that you're rinsing at a time makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, after lots and lots of washing, this is what we got. Now I'm going to level it all out and see how it looks. Okay, back to the pump. We got the substrate ready to rock and roll. And now it is time to get the parts, and I never can remember exactly. And we're back from the hardware store. Oh my God. This stuff is getting expensive, but I bought, since I have 4 pumps, I have a lot more planned for these similar kinds of projects coming up here soon. One after the other, so there'll be lots of new stuff like this coming up. So, here are my sponges. There are 3 sponges. I cut off a piece of PVC pipe I just bought. So remember when I said we don't use the pre-filter part here. And I took this little plate off right here, it's removable. So if you ever want to change the impeller, this deal here, this is what spins. And you gotta make sure you line that up, and it just twists and locks there. And we've got, since we're not using the pre-filter, essentially we're DIYing our own sponge filter with the 3 sponges like this, the ATI size 5 Pro. And we get this little guy right here. And then we can put on a little piece of PVC, put an elbow in, and then that'll be how we start our sponge filter for this project. So I'm just going to cut this little guy off here. And we slide this little dude we just cut off in here like so. And we're going to put an elbow like so. And then we need our upright piece. So then we have our 3 sponges. And we want to get, so we want to make our cut about right here. And then we add all 3, and it's a perfect fit. Boom at the top, the bottom. And so then our next step is going to be filling this entire piece of PVC pipe with holes. And the tool I'm going to use for that is this nice hole saw set I've had for years and years. If you want to be a DIY PVC inventor, something like this is really good. As you can see, these are the hole drillers, and I don't think I've ever even used these huge ones, but we've taken the 5/8 monster and my handy dandy cheap drill and drilling a bunch of holes. You turn your brake down, because if you're holding it, you're sitting there drilling a hole, and it comes through and it catches, and you got your brake turned up real high, it's going to rip it out of your hand, it's going to pull your hand into the, and that's not a good time. So turn, because you don't need a lot of oomph. You want your brake to be going off real easy for safety reasons. So thanks to my wife for recording me drilling the hole, but you can see once you get through, it kind of stops. And you got to back off a little bit and go back in. And that's why I got that brake turned down, because if the brake was turned up, it'd rip it right out of your hand and it'd make it dangerous. Then you can use the blade, clean off the burrs around the edges and on the inside. Okay, so we got the holes drilled here. So, and then we got a cap here. We got a cap here. Cap goes on like so. And we go boom, boom, boom. And we have our pump. And there is our input. And that is the actual filter, just 3 sponges. So then we start working on the output of the pump. So the first thing that goes on the output of the pump is that same little adapter that we put on the input of the pump. We've got another one of those, and that will take a 3/4 inch PVC. Okay, so those of you guys who know my other pond, this one is going to be different, as you can see here. So we got, I roughly eyeballed that. I think I need to take it down an inch or 2. And then see where we're at after that. Okay, so we got our filter here. Now we got to take care of the outtake. Go down to input. And the thing that I'm going to be doing here with this one, that'll make this filter my improvement from my previous filters, is this one will have turn valve water changes. So we've got a T there at the top, and then I've got this is a little piece of pipe, an adapter, threaded, and this is a quick connect. So all I gotta do is turn a couple valves, and we can hook the hose up to it, and the same pump that runs the filter will do the water changes. And we've got the one valve, and now we got to do the spray bar portion of it. So when we do a water change, this will go to the spray bar. We'll turn this valve off and turn this valve on, and we'll change water. Then when we're ready to quit doing our water change, we'll shut this valve and open this valve. So then we're going back up to the spray bar that we're about to build. So the next thing we need to try to do is we need to make hooks so that what we're doing here, we're putting a T, and I've already built this. I'm piecing it together and showing you guys how I did it. We got a T, and we'll do it here. Put that on like so. And then we've got a hook I fashioned with a cap. So then you put that right there, and that will help hold everything in place eventually. And then we have an elbow that comes on this little guy down here that I showed you guys. It's going to be pointing across. And then this is the spray bar I've already drilled holes in. Now these have smaller holes than the sponge part did, but so then we got this guy here. And then we have another hook that I fashioned with the cap. And there we have it. So to summarize the build of this filter, the water will flow in through the sponges, through the holes we drilled. This is the actual filter part. Down into the little 400 gallon power pump. It'll pump up to here. And then if we have this valve closed and this valve open, then the water will flow in through here, fill the hooks up, and then spray. I have holes here, holes here, holes here, hole here, hole here, hole here. Spray it out across the stock tank pond. And then I've got holes on top, create surface agitation. And then if we want to do a water change, again, we close the valve to the spray bar and open up the valve to this, and this has a quick connect fitting for my water change hose. And with it wedged in there with these hooks, I mean, it's not glued and it's pretty steady. So now I'm going to have to glue it, and it'll take a while. And hopefully when you guys see it, it'll be full of water. Okay, so we're not quite ready for water yet. I want to talk about a few things about what I glued and what I didn't glue. So everything on the hooks are glued. We did not glue this joint here on the spray bar, and we did not glue that joint there. And nothing on the input on the sponge side was glued because we just friction fit that so we can take it apart and clean the sponges and stuff like that. Now these threads didn't line up. I hope this isn't a problem. I got a whole bunch of, I got like 6 layers of tape on there, Teflon tape. because the threads for my quick connects do not line up perfectly. They do not want to go on there. So I got them on there real tight and put a whole bunch of tape on there. We'll see what happens. But that, if it does, the worst case scenario is the back pressure when I'm doing the water changes, it sprays it. I mean, if it just drips a little bit down back into the pond, not a big deal. So as long as it's not shooting water up out of the pond while I'm pumping water out through the hose, we ain't got a problem. And we're just letting the last half hour or so of dry time, and then it'll be water filling time. Alrighty, let's see what happens when we plug it in. Now, I did plug it in off camera and I messed up the mic. So the original moment, the audio was messed up. So let's see what happens when we do this. Looking pretty good. Then let's test out this valve for the water change. Then of course if we shut this off, this will spray up out of the tank. So we don't want to do that. But that all looks pretty good. Alrighty. Let's let her fill up, then we'll see if it'll pump water out. Now it did leak a little bit right here that I was worried about. Let's see how bad that leak is when we get back pressure pumping water out. So there she is running full, nice and quiet. I really like this surface agitation here. That's turned out really nice. So now let's see if it'll pump water out without leaking too bad. Alright, let's see what we got. We got it up to quick connect on. Open this guy up. And it's leaking. See what happens when we close this. That's a pretty crappy leak there. But I suspected it. Okay, so I got a little better. I'll probably try working on it some more, but we got it to just a drip, 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 drip. And like I said, not a big deal because that is only going to be used when we're doing water changes. And you can see we got some water coming out. And so I'm going to let it sit and run for a few days just to make sure everything is good. I've checked, there's no leaks back there. I think we're good on that. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. I mean, probably not a lot of you guys out here will be doing it, but doing this exact same project. But everything I talk about in here holds true for all your little shrimp tanks, even your 5-gallon shrimp tank. The same principles still apply. Now, maybe the details of doing a great big spray bar and filter and stuff like this was different. But we got the substrate, we've got the filter built, we've got the water change system set up. I think it ended up being pretty good. I can't wait to see what this project has in store.